Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Central Valley Talk. We are live and local on this Wednesday. It is the 19th of May now. I'm Austin Reed. Thanks for being with us. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Give us a follow, subscribe. We'll do it back to you. We've got a busy day here at Central Valley Talk. So many live local guests in studio with us, and we're going to start things in Sanger. Our first guest today is Tim Chapa with the City of Sanger. And Tim, you are the city manager since 2016. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Austin. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today to speak to you.
Absolutely. This is your first time on Central Valley Talk,
I believe
right?
so, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, always a first time for everything,
sure.
Right? We've got a lot to talk about today. Number one, I want to start with how it's been during COVID this last, over year now.
Sure. It's been especially challenging as a small city and the agency kind of responsible for getting direction from the federal government and the state government in terms of guidelines. We're at the front lines. We're the ones who are implementing and doing the enforcement. So we take the rules from the feds and the states, but we're the face of enforcement. So it's been extremely challenging. The City Council, however, has followed up on all of the CDC, CDPH, state and county guidelines. So we have been implementing stay-at-home orders, executive orders, mask orders, working with businesses who have a challenge, who need to stay open but are struggling with the guidelines. At the end of the day, we did do some enforcement. We did do some fines. We did have folks who actually appealed those fines to a separate entity, had those fines reduced, but it's difficult for everyone. We do see a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll get there. One of the other interesting things that Sanger did is Sanger was the first rural OptumServe testing center clinic in the valley. We worked with the County Department of Public Health, and Sanger was the first one. And then we were the second vaccination center right behind Reedley College.
Wow.
And through today, in terms of the rural sites, Sanger is the site with the highest participation rate for vaccinations. So we're getting the message out locally. Folks are working with us, but it's been challenging and difficult. Some of the offsets, some of the things that the City Council has tried to do for businesses and residents is offer some grants and incentives. So with some of the COVID monies that we've received, we let out 40 $5,000 grants to businesses, and it was based on qualifying and just a lottery selection. The council's now authorized another 100 businesses for $5,000 grants. We also have a CDBG grant where we'll be offering another 20. So at the end of the day, about 160 businesses in Sanger are eligible for $5,000 grants. We're also doing rental assistance to residents, utility assistance, and we've also got some additional CDBG funding to continue those. So, at the same time that we're trying to address this issue, we are trying to access the federal and state funding to assist and help our businesses and residents.
Do you see from both sides of the issue working as city manager, like you said, the confusion or the frustration? How have you been able to keep your composure?
My goodness, that's been the challenge. But at the end of the day, we've been relying on the science. We've been relying on the recommendations from whether it's CDC, California Department of Public Health, CDPH. We're not the scientists or the experts, but we are relying on those folks to go ahead and provide us that direction. We try not to get into arguments with folks about whether vaccinations are the right thing to do, masking are the right things to do. We just know that the recommendations are that we should be doing those things. So it's been a challenge because it is confusing to folks. CDC sometimes is coming out with recommendations, and the next week they're almost contradicting themselves. But California's been measured in terms of implementing some of those recommendations as well. But on the front lines, again, we are the face of trying to explain that to folks And again, it's just been challenging.
And as you said, you do see a light at the end of the tunnel, and things are now reopening. And I think more people. I was noticing just within the last month, there's actually a rush hour coming back. On 41 and 99 in the morning and afternoon. So it is kind of exciting to see some kind of light.
Yeah. And again, the once-in-the-century pandemic, you and I never lived through anything like this, but it was difficult initially because we didn't know how long this was going to go. I think initially it was, well, maybe this is going to be a month or 2 months. None of us knew that it was going to be 14 months, in the midst of all this. But finally, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We still need to be responsible. We still need to promote as many people getting the vaccinations, continuing to wear the mask, do the social distancing like you and I are doing. But hopefully we've turned the corner, and hopefully some of the variants that are occurring globally, hopefully we're vaccinated and we reach that herd immunity before some of those variants get here in any strength of numbers.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about a very exciting program that you guys are working on. It is a military banner program.
Correct.
Tell us more.
Yeah, this is an exciting program. So back in 2014, the mayor actually had a veterans group, an advisory group to the mayor, who wanted to talk to the mayor about different issues regarding veterans and veterans issues. What came up of that is, why isn't the city recognizing veterans and the contribution that they've made, not just to the nation and the state, but the community? So other cities had done a banner program where they honor individual current service members or veterans with banners running from roughly Memorial Day through Veterans Day, so May through November, almost 6 months of the year putting banners up. And so through that collaboration and through looking at some of the other models that some other cities had, the city implemented that program. You have to be an active service member or a veteran, or your family on behalf of you, if they live in town, can go ahead and put up a banner in your memory and in your honor. Initially, the cost is about $275 to create the banner. But every year thereafter, it's about $35 to participate in the program. And we're happy to say that Academy Avenue, which is our main thoroughfare, is decorated with military banners between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. In 2015, we started out with 16 banners. And next weekend, this month, we're going to have 96 banners up and down Academy Avenue. And it is a sight to see. It really is touching to see that memorial and honoring of our service members.
Have you heard from any veterans in Sanger that just love this?
Oh, my goodness. So what we'll have is folks will actually go out to their site with their family members, take photos. The banners are almost 12 feet tall. So up on the pole, they don't look that large. But certainly when the family members are out there, they're huge. So the family members will go out there. Some family members will ask for certain locations because that location means something to their family member. We try to accommodate those if we can, but it's difficult to accommodate everyone's request. And then at the end of each year, in November after Veterans Day, we actually hold a ceremony in the community center where we hang all the banners in the community center, and then we hand them back to the families for safekeeping in case they want to keep it, or safekeeping for the next year's banner event. And again, when you see these 12-foot banners and the family standing right next to it, their family member is huge because of the banner picture.
Sure.
And you just see smiles on their faces, and it's just a touching experience. And I'm honored that the city of Sanger can do that for the veterans and veterans' families in Sanger.
We've got just a couple minutes left. I know that we wanted to talk about the Annexation Program. This is exciting.
Right. So our city limits on the north side of town end at about California Avenue as you head out on Academy towards 180, and then 180 is about a quarter mile up. Since the last 30 years, city councils have wanted to annex in that property because that's the next natural growth area. And these last couple years, we've been able to make progress towards that. And come this summer, we'll be able to actually annex that strip of about a quarter mile each side of Academy going up to the 180 as an industrial commercial property within the city of Sanger, then allowing development for businesses to come in along Academy.
And this is going to start as soon as possible, right?
Right. So the annexation will go to the county LAFCO this summer, and then after that, it's developers coming in. We also submitted a federal grant for infrastructure that we submitted in December, and potentially we can put in the infrastructure even before the businesses get there, further encouraging them to come in and do business in Sanger.
And the pension bond, we were talking about this just before the interview today. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so cities like Sanger are under CalPERS, and there's a defined benefit pension. But the way that the funding works for the program, it's not fully funded, so you have an unfunded liability. Recently, because of some accounting rules, those unfunded liabilities become short-term. We have to recognize them immediately. So once we know they're there, we have to do something about it. One of the approaches is to make that payment over 30 years. It's an additional payment. But another way is to issue a pension obligation bond. And if the market rates are right, and if you only do it for the pension, you can actually save money. So we're looking at doing a pension obligation bond on our liability of about $21 million. And over 20 years, we believe that we'll save $5 million on pension obligations.
Very good, very good. How can people get more information about the city of Sanger? Just online?
Online, we're pretty active on social media and our website and Facebook, but certainly calling City Hall. Even in COVID, we're ready and we're available to respond to residents and folks in Sanger.
Tim Chapa, City Manager, City of Sanger, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Austin. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm Austin Breed. You're watching Central Valley Talk. We're back with another live local guest in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.